We are back, and we're being joined by our first guest of the evening. He is Elijah Clarke. He will take on Juan Jackson. He's going to be the featured light heavyweight battle at Lions Fight 28, Friday, September 29th at Foxwoods Resort and Casino in Mashantucket, Connecticut. Elijah, how we feeling, brother?
Feeling good. Feeling ready to go.
And that's typically what I always ask that, but it's like one of the kind of taboo questions I like to stay away. I just always want to know how you guys feel, and it's 9 times out of 10 it's like sometimes we kind of get the same responses, but at the same time I almost kind of want to throw that question out the window anymore because it's like a kind of your bland question that you just get to kind of kick things off.
Yeah. No, but feeling good. Just kind of starting my weight cut. You know, the usual. So nothing new. You know what I mean? Usual weight cut.
Yeah, I mean that's normally what the last 6 days are. The hard work's already done. You know, the mental preparation is probably the only other thing you probably have to worry about moving forward. You know, of course. I mean, I don't know what it is. I looked on all over social media. Haven't really seen. I don't know if it's just them not getting your records, but haven't really seen any action out of you. Why were we away for so long?
My last fight was I believe in July. Yeah, I fought on a Friday Night Fights card. It was a Road to Glory fight. So I fought Brad Mountain on that show. So it wasn't. I had a fight recently, so it wasn't that long ago. Okay.
Yeah. See, they basically when I was looking you up, it says that Brett was the last guy you fought. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, after Brett, I fought. Who did I fight after Brett? I think I had a couple more fights after Brett, and then
It's seriously the one thing I hate about social media. It's like we need a better tracking system for you guys to get credits for your fights. I mean, you could be,
Definitely.
like you could have it says you're 6-1, but you're really 9-2. You got way more experience, and then promoter kind of crosses you over because they didn't think you were active or whatever. It's one of the things I think as we move forward with combat sports, it's just something that we need to get better at tracking some of this because you're not the first guy I've had issues with it. You fought so and so, X amount of time ago. I was like, I've actually fought 3 times since then. I'm like, all right, sure, dog, you need to get on your stuff, man, or topology. Come on, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I think it was one fight after Brett. That was recently. That was the Brad Mountain fight. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So record is 6-1 now.
I got the record right.
So,
but now this is the first fight under Lion fight, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And
forward to it. Should be good.
How excited are you for that? I mean, one thing I really enjoy about Lion fight is because it's probably the truest form of combative striking. When you're in glory, there's no real knees or elbows. When you're in there in the Lions fight cage, you have your knees, you have your elbows. There's definitely a much higher chance of you getting cut. What are your thoughts on Lion fight compared to some of the other kickboxing promotions out there?
I mean, I love Thai boxing. I started doing Thai boxing. I mean, just pure Thai boxing, never just glory rules or anything like that. But I kind of like them both. I think my style transitions to both. You know what I mean? But I love the full contact of Thai boxing with the elbows, the knees to the head. I love all the weapons you could use in Thai boxing.
Yeah, I think it's one of. I mean, it's one of the things that I love about it is that it really is the truest form of combat striking.
Yes,
the knees and the elbows are important parts of it because you get a guy maybe he slips out of range just enough that you miss with the hook, but if you follow through with the elbow and he comes back in the range, You know, you got a nice little he's got a nice little split in the middle of his forehead, and it's, you know, now you're making things difficult for him. You know, the blood's going into his face, it's going into his mouth, it's going into his nose. He's in a fight.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more ways to end a fight when it comes to Thai boxing compared to Glory. So that makes it a lot more exciting. It's a lot more risk, I think, when you look at it that way. And the fact that we're allowed to clinch a little bit longer. So it makes it makes a lot more fun.
That's also big too, because that's the one thing about just your regular boxing is normally like after 2 or 3 seconds when you guys are in the clinch there, you got that you're broken up. Where you're in the Thai boxing, you guys are given a lot more leniency. You might see, 30 seconds or so fly by before the referee will even warn you guys to work. It's beautiful. The clinch is a beautiful thing to be able to work in, especially when you're doing Thai boxing.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. I mean, clinch is, I think, half of it. You know what I mean? It's part of the game, and that's why you can't really not train that. You have to train that clinch, and it's good to get in there and test someone's clinch and see where they are, and then you can make a decision whether or not you want to fight on the inside or the outside. So once in a while, it's good to mix it up and get in there, just test out the clinch, see where they're at.
So how do you train for the differences when you take like a Glory-style fight versus the line fight, where it's actual full Thai rules, basically?
I mean, there's not much difference in the way we train. And like I said, my style, I could transition pretty easy. You know what I mean? Because I could move fast for the Glory fight, and I could have this slow pace for the Thai fight. You know what I mean? So my footwork, I could transition to both. The only difference in the training is just we don't clinch. That's it. You know what I mean? But other than that, the training's the same. And we train at a faster pace for the Glory style fight.
Now, another thing I want to ask you, last time I checked, are you still running the striking classes over at Enzo's?
I'm not the head instructor. I also teach there, but our head instructor is Joseph Sampieri at Enzo Gracie Academy.
Okay. So I'm
one of the instructors there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it. Hey man, it's regardless if you're the head instructor or not, it's still a nice feather to have in your cap there. Being a part of that team, I'm sure is an amazing asset.
Oh, most definitely. I think my Thai boxing game has evolved so much since transitioning and moving into start training with Enzo Gracie Academy. Transitions a lot. Because back then, I think I was purely going on my athletic attributes, and now when I transitioned with the Enzo Gracie Academy, I really learned how to fight, learn how to fight Thai boxing.
How did you make that connection, and what changed it so much? What was the biggest change?
The change in why I moved to Enzo Gracie, or
no, the change in your. You said that really benefited your game.
I think before I was kind of I got by on my attributes, being athletic, you know what I mean, and things like that. I know how to strike, but when I started training with Joseph Sampieri, I really learned how to fight. You know what I mean? Not just basically relying on my natural attributes as my athleticism. You know what I mean? I really learned how to fight, and in the sense of not just only physical but mental. And that was the biggest change, was the mental change.
Hey man, I'm sure being around all the guys in that gym, there's only one direction to go, is up, because they're not gonna let you off the hook. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's definitely one of the things. I mean, my head coach Joseph Sampieri is one of the best coaches I've trained with, and he will not let you slack one bit. You know what I mean? And sometimes he might tell you things you don't want to hear, and I think that's what makes a good coach.
I agree. I have lots of coaches that would make me work outside my comfort zone. That's why I've seen the most growth in myself as a martial artist. And they make me do things they want to do.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, I was having a talk about with my kid about this. She's just like getting to the point now, like she just wants to, enjoy being a teenager, hang out with her friends, meet boys, whatever. And like she just basically stopped doing the training. She's like, it sucks. I don't feel like getting kicked and punched and hit. I'm like, yeah, of course it sucks. Do you think half the fighters? You think half the fighters that train and are professional athletes that they feel like getting kicked and punched? Several times a day, 5 to 6 days a week? Do you think they really want to do that?
I mean, sometimes
you're literally fighting
fun.
for your freedom to do whatever you want at the end of the day. I mean, right or wrong.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's not fun, but it's one of the things where you have to find the joy in it. You know what I mean? You got to look at, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say that.
It's part of it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And and you also got some great guys who are not just straight Muay Thai fighters who were probably immense to help out. Like I know Liam McGarry is a guy that's frequent at that gym.
Yeah.
Is he a guy that you work with a lot?
Yeah, I've sparred with Liam McGarry a couple of times. You know what I mean? He's one of the only guys I spar where I get someone a little bit taller than me. So it's always fun. It's always fun to spar with him.
I'm sure. Getting a guy who's that long to be able to get some work in, it's just I think it's an immense. He's a immensely important training partner, regardless if you only get to work with him a couple times. During a training camp for a fight, those looks I think are invaluable.
Yeah, I think so, because he comes with a different look, and it's not really traditional Thai boxing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's more of an MMA style. So it's good to get the different looks. You have guys like Neiman Gracie that spars with us, so it's always fun to spar with the MMA guys.
What do you think is the biggest difference between a MMA guy and a traditional Thai or Dutch style guy?
I think traditional Thai. The difference between the traditional Thai and the MMA guys. The MMA guys are most of the time looking for the shoot. So their stands are basically in that position to look for the shoot. They drop the elevation a little bit more. You know what I mean? And the Dutch guys are a little bit more boxing heavy. You know what I mean? But all of that is good to get. It's good to see those things. So when you come across it in the ring, it's nothing new.
It's good, man. It's good. Now, kind of off base, me and Ace kind of started off the show talking about this, and I just kind of want to get everyone's thoughts on it tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. Obviously, the NFL is kind of front and center because of our president here. Ace is he's a man of color. He's a service member. I wanted to get his thoughts. I want to get your guys' thoughts too. We're MMA, combat sports. We're a multicultural thing there, and a lot of times before some of these events, there is several national anthems being played. We don't see because some of these guys protesting that. We don't see that in combat sports. So with all that going on, like I want to get your thoughts, man. Regardless of which way you go with it, man. I just think we all have our place to do it. Just when and where you do it, I think is the more important thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when and where you do it is important. I think I try to kind of stay out of politics a bit.
I'm with you.
I think when you look at the guys kneeling in the NFL, me personally, I don't see it as that much of a disrespect. You know what I mean? It's not like you're turning your back to the flag or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's not so much of a disrespect, but it's like, hey, we're standing for people who are being unjust. You know what I mean? So there's good and bad about all of it. You know what I mean? It's all about how you feel it. But I don't think what the NFL players are doing, I don't see it as that bad, that disrespectful. Whereas some people might. You know what I mean? That's all your views. But I think.
But see, my like, listen, I say that they, Ace brought this point up that these guys have that right because it's in our service members have fought for our rights for them to be able to do this at the end of the day. I think both sides have an argument when it comes to it. But at the end of the day, I think the government is kind of getting more involved in it is because, when was it? I think it was like 2009. They signed the federal government gave them $10 million for them to do these honor guard type things, the flyovers and all that. So I think that's why you're starting to see this strife between our government and the freaking NFL because at the end of the day, you wear a uniform, that endows your team colors with the NFL shield on it. That shield has paid out, has taken money from our government for them to do these type of things, and I guess that's where Trump is going with it. He's looking at the wrong aspect of it, in my opinion, as well. But like we were saying earlier, I think there's a time and place for all that. What me and Ace were kind of saying is like where we are socially, where we are technology-wise, where everyone can kind of spread the word. My thing is, if they want to kneel, whatever, fine. I'm more along if you don't want to, if that's not the thing you want to do, I like what the Eagles did today. They were arm in arm. You also had some guys, raising their hand, solidarity, whatever. That's fine with me. But we're, at the end of the day, I still think a lot of people are concentrating on the wrong things. And I think
for me, I think a big thing would be to say, you know what, they turned their back to the flag. That would be like, hey, you know what, that's an outright disrespect. You know what I mean? And for me, I'm coming from the Caribbean. I'm a West Indian. You know what I mean? So whether or not I support it or not, I would never turn my back to the flag because this is the country I live in. You know what I mean? So that would be disrespect. But I can see how I don't see kneeling as that much of a disrespect as people are making it out to be.
We, like I said, we all show our love, our respect, all in different ways. I guess it's how it's perceived at the end of the day is what really kind of I think is the issue here. But like I said, I think it's just we're concentrating on the wrong thing. I do agree with some people that somebody you need to have you need to send Troy Vincent over to the White House and have him and President Trump sit down and have a conversation to kind of explain to him why these guys are doing what they're doing. And maybe, somewhere we can kind of get everyone on the same page. A lot of people are trying to make Trump out to be this giant racist. I would hope that he isn't, but I haven't seen anything concrete proof to sit there and say that he is. If there was concrete proof that he was in fact a racist, he would not be in office. The end. But
definitely.
But that's a conversation and an argument for another day.
I think with that one, everyone will have their own opinion on that one.
Oh yeah, obviously. I'm sure by the time this episode's over, I'm going to get messages or emails or whatever.
Me personally, I just think the man has no filter.
He does. But I think that's why he is where he is. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's why he's in office.
He has no one to kind of hey, you shouldn't say that. You know what I mean?
Well,
he
does.
What it is.
He doesn't listen to them.
He doesn't listen. So I think that's what it is. And sometimes what he says, it does. I don't think it registers before he says it.
Yeah, I think he just has enough money to where he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't think it has to do with the money. Like I said, the reason he's in office is because he has no filter. He says exactly what's on his mind, regardless who it insults, upsets. Come on now. Did he freaking call the freaking guy from North Korea a rocket man? I'm like, oh no, he didn't.
But if you look at the start of Trump's campaign, everyone thought it was a joke. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Till people were till it came to a point where it was oh shit, this is real. And by then it was kind of too late. He had already picked up steam. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, by then he pretty much almost won.
Yeah,
and then here we are.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
Never in my life I thought I'd say President Trump.
Let's get back to Elijah Clarke and this fight he's got coming up on the 29th. No, argument could be made that winner of this fight could wind up finding themselves in a title fight not too long down the road here. How important is this fight for you? I mean, are we going to see you for multiple fights in 9 fights, or is it just
I mean, hopefully so. Hopefully so. It's like, I mean, for me, it's a great opportunity to just be able to step on a big stage like that, like Lions Fight. So hopefully I can show them what I have, because I've been trying to get on the show for a while. So hopefully they can see what I have to bring and what Renzo Gracie Muay Thai has to bring to the table, and you never know. You might see us again.
Now, they're starting, I think they've already announced their first international event as this promotion continues to grow. If, you do come back, would some of those international fights pique your interest as well?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, the whole reason I got into the sport was to fight the best in the world. You know what I mean? I didn't get into the sport just to kind of coast by and say, hey, I'm a fighter. No, I wanted to challenge myself. So win or lose, I want to fight the best guys. You know what I mean? So to me, it doesn't matter who you are. You've never fought me. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. So most definitely I'll be interested in that.
I love that mentality, though. I love that mentality. And hey, man, being around like a guy like Renzo, I'm pretty sure that he's probably said some things or whatever that kind of rub off on you and kind of resonates with you. He's one of them guys.
Yeah, most definitely.
So have you dabbled in the jiu-jitsu side of Renzo's or strictly Thai?
I've done a couple classes, but not to the degree I could say that I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I've done. I can literally count how many classes I've done on one hand, so it's not. Yeah, but I think it's a whole different sport. You know what I mean? I've done it a couple times, and it's just a different beast on its own.
Yeah, I know how that is. I started out as a kung fu karate, then I ended up doing the Dutch style kickboxing, which is still my preferred preference. I do MMA now, but if it was my choice, I would just do the Dutch kickboxing stuff.
No, but I love Thai boxing too. For me, I look at it like this way. For me to train jiu-jitsu, I have to stop. I have to take time away from Thai boxing, and I love Thai boxing too much at the moment.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard work, man. You already got one aspect of it, and you're starting to really be able to kind of sit down your punches or whatever. Then you have to learn a whole other style to kind of incorporate into the wrestling and jiu-jitsu aspects of it. It's just like it. That's why I say like some of these guys who were like pure boxers and they come over to MMA, like it takes them a while to kind of find that rhythm, that range. Like I say like all the time, MMA is more of a game of inches than any other sport you could possibly think of. Just because the angles and everything is so different. And like you compare that to regular boxing or kickboxing or Thai boxing, it's different.
I think the aspect of the takedown changes the way you throw your punches, the way you sit into your punches, the way you throw your kicks. I think that changes a lot. So compared to
I always
Thai
tell people, like, if you're going to throw kicks, make sure it's at the end of a combination so you can circle out and away.
Yeah, definitely.
Or set them up properly. I think it's my practice whenever I see the good opening, but I'm also not scared to be on my back either. So
yeah. But I think,
but still, with Thai boxing, you still have to worry about sweeps too. You still have to worry about sweeps.
Yeah,
very true.
But that's when you get into the clinch. You know what I mean? It's, most of the sweeps that happens from clinch. So, like Thai boxing and Western boxing, you could sit into your punches a bit, whereas in MMA you can't really do that as much because the fear of takedown. You got to be able to move your feet. So I think when you transition to MMA, it changes everything. The way you stand have to change. Your movement, you know what I mean? You have to be a little bit more bouncy in your feet so you don't get taken down so much. Because I remember my first time even sparring with Igor Gracie, and I was traditional Thai boxing, and we were doing sparring, and he just shot and took me down. And he was like, yeah, you got to start moving your feet. So it changes a lot.
It does, man.
For me, that's the biggest change. Even still, I'm still working on that. The moving, the not overcommitting, there's a good opening there, and then being up on my ass. But I definitely, I know what you're saying.
Not falling for the setup. Because sometimes if it looks too good, it normally is.
Yep.
What got you started in training martial arts in the first place?
I mean, I started. It's funny. I've told this story many times. I actually went. Funny thing is, a coworker of mine invited me to train in Russian system. It's a Russian military form of fighting. And I walked in, and a former coworker of mine was doing Thai boxing. And he was like, "Nah, man, you should do this. It's better for you. You fit it better." And I ended up doing that. And I ended up never doing the Russian Sistema class. And I just kind of I did Thai boxing for about 8 months. After a couple of months, I told my instructor that, hey, you know what, I admitted to sparring and all that, and I was like, hey, you know what, I want to fight just to kind of see. For me, it wasn't something where I wanted to be a pro fighter. It was just I wanted to see if this works. So I wanted to compete to kind of see if I could actually use it. And I had my first fight after 8 months, and it kind of just steamrolled after that.
And I never looked back ever since.
Hey, that's how it works. That's how it works. So till this day, I credit a friend of mine, Ricky, for introducing me to Thai boxing. Because if it was for him, chances are I would have never done it.
Yeah, you doing Russian stevia?
What's that?
You said you would have been doing the Russian stevia or stevia.
I think it's called Russian Sistema. I think it's like a Russian military form of fighting. Yeah. I mean, it looked pretty interesting, but it's not as interesting as Thai boxing.
Okay.
But as I'm looking here at the time, at the end of everything for this one, before we give Brett a call here, you know, your former opponent's going to be our next guest here.
Brett, I said, what's up?
Will do. He's the one that put the first.
Brett's actually a friend of mine, so yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. There's very few times in this sport that you see guys who fight each other who legit just can't get along. I think that's why when you see when you see them, you know, kind of going at it verbally, you know, they don't like each other. That's why people are enamored by it, because a lot of times when it comes to combat sport, it's honor, respect. You see times like even last night, you know, you've seen Paul Daly, you know, absolutely starch Lorenz Larkin, did his thing, but he comes back around and makes sure he was all right, regardless if Larkin was having any of it or not. He still went over to kind of make sure he was okay. Well, Aaron Pico last night, he obliterates Justin Lin. After he does his thing, walked back around, sat right by where he was to make sure he was okay. You don't really see a whole lot of that, rolling over thing where normally once the competition's over, it becomes a friendly environment most of the time.
Yeah, because I mean, at that particular time, that person brought out the best in you, so you have to respect it, whether you like them or not. Yes. You have to respect that.
Yeah. You don't have to like all of them, but the respect thing.
Yeah, but you have to respect it. Yeah.
Yes. But Elijah, what we typically do at the end of the interview is kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you. Anyone you would like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot out your social media sites, any sponsors you might have, anything you want to say at all, charities you're working with, whatever. The time is yours, my friend.
Just like to thank my whole Hands of Gracie Muay Thai team. I mean, especially my head instructor, Joseph Sampieri, PJ, Mike McKee, I mean, just my whole team. My little daughter who just walked in. She might want to get in the conversation. Yeah, just everyone at the Hands of Gracie, on the Hands of Gracie team. Say hi. Yeah, but just all my teammates, you know what I mean?
Do you have any sponsors for this fight?
No, not yet, no.
No? Oh, man, we need to do something about that. That's just criminal. We got to figure out something with that, man.
Definitely.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like, especially being a professional, you're going to be on Access TV, man. You need to get like one of your buddies, just like, hey, man, just give me a couple sponsors. I'll throw you some gear or something.
My fault. One sponsor, Royal Protection Agency.
Yeah.
One of my clients' company, so it's one of my sponsors. But that's it. But hopefully after this fight, people will kind of see what I have to provide.
TV, man. Even if you I mean, hell, hire a manager, let them take care of that, and let you worry about the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, listen, I'll get my own fights. You just get me sponsors, man. I'll take care of everything else.
Most definitely.
All right, Elijah, brother, it was great talking to you tonight. Best of Skill, September 28th. Guys, if you're not gonna be there, Access TV. Make sure you guys are tuned in. Lion Fights always delivers. And again, best of Skill, and have a good weekend, my man.
You too. Thank you for having me, guys.